Mr. Justin Larrance, welcome to episode 2 of Coffee Talk, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I'm excited to, it's my first hang out with somebody that's not Shelby in months.
Quarantine talk. It should be called quarantine talk. I should have started this seven weeks ago.
Yeah, and have the chronicles of how it's progressed. If we thought it was going to be like 3 weeks long to now being 3 months long.
Oh man, yeah, we're still not even. We just got the 5 or 6 week push, so I don't know where you guys are at with like gyms and hair salons and shit. But we just got in 5 weeks or in another 3 weeks, we'll be able to open the gym with like 20 or 30 people. It's like actually gonna be like 40% capacity, which is going to be ridiculous. But like another 6 weeks, I guess, is like phase 5 of gyms actually trying to be open. So where are you guys at right now with that?
Well, in Ohio, we don't know. They haven't said anything about gyms. I'm thinking it's going to come soon though, because on the 12th, they're opening some things here, like retail and stuff. That's going to open back up. Obviously, everything's going to have restrictions. And then on the 15th, They're opening up salons, like hair salons and barbershops, which is good because I need a haircut really bad. And then they haven't said anything about gyms yet. I know restaurants are opening up on the 21st, I believe. They're going to like open up with like obviously only a certain amount of people allowed in there and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be different than what the norm was before. But I mean, at least stuff's opening up here, and I would assume gyms are probably coming maybe June. He hasn't announced yet, but if they're opening up restaurants, I feel like they could definitely open gyms because you can limit people in a gym a lot easier than you can a restaurant. Like,
yep.
I mean, and like barbershops, you can limit the gym. Like you can make people space out. If you got to rearrange your gym a little bit, maybe you got to rearrange your gym a little bit for machines being further apart. But like, I feel like it'd be easier to regulate that than right on top of each other with, getting your hair cut or a restaurant and all that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think restaurants that'll be a shit show. I mean, with gyms, you can actually you can literally stand by the door and limit who comes in. But for restaurants, it's like, you're going to be rolling up to a restaurant and they're going to be like, hey, we're not allowed any more people. And you're like, okay, next restaurant. You do the same thing there. It's like you'd be driving restaurant to restaurant. It's going to be a pain in the ass,
And like gym systems, they can have like an online sign up time. Like, I mean, a lot of CrossFit gyms do anyway. You sign up there. A lot of commercial gyms don't, but it'd be super easy to implement that into their system. Like, get online, sign up for what time you're going to come. After 10 to 15 people, it's capped. You can't come anymore, depending on the square footage of the gym. I think that it makes complete sense to open gyms back up now.
I think it's time also. I think now it's just kind of doing that like irreversible damage to an economy right now. Like gyms need to open, salons need to open. If you don't want to get your hair cut, I think you don't have to. I'm like, this is the selfish me talking. Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, you're a fucking asshole, Anthony. But it's like, it's the truth. I think we need to start opening things up sooner than later. And I think another 7 to 8 weeks will be super detrimental to a lot. There's already talk around this town that some of the small businesses aren't even going to open back up, So
a lot of small, I think it's crazy. It's not even, this is the first like worldwide thing I've ever seen. Like, it's worldwide now. A lot of other countries are opening back up. America obviously was hit a little harder than a lot of other countries. But right. I mean, what are we to do? Like, the reason we started the lockdown, this is my opinion, and like you said, people might not agree with it, and if you don't, that's fine. But like, we did this quarantine, right, to not overwhelm the hospitals, so the emergency rooms didn't get overwhelmed, so there's enough ventilators. Well, from what the information we've been provided, that happened, right? Like, the hospitals aren't so overwhelmed anymore. So the slowly opening of things, I understand why they're doing it slowly, and I think a lot of states are doing a good job. But I mean, obviously, I'm from Illinois. You live in Illinois. So that's where most of my friends and all my family's at. It's like, why is Illinois taking so long to like the?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what I don't really understand the governor's like idea. Is it like there's like different like sections of the state, right? That he put it in, because most of the cases are in Cook County. They're up in Chicago. Like, obviously, the population, that's where most of the state's population is. So that's where most of the cases are going to be. But why can't the rest of the state have different like opening rules than Chicago? Like, why does the whole state have to suffer, and all these small businesses down in, like, I'm from a small town. Like, we're nothing near Chicago where I'm from. The county I've been in has 0 cases of coronavirus. The one that I'm from, literally, it's like one of the only counties in the state that has no cases. And like, my dad owns his own business. Like, he hasn't been able to really work. Like, he could work, but he owns a like trucking company, but freight is so like there's one load for every 11 trucks right now to be hauled.
Wow.
So like, and so you know what they can do to the prices? They can make it really, really cheap. So it's not even worth his time to go out there and work. Like it would cost them more in diesel fuel than it would to go work. So it's like, why does the whole state have to suffer? You know, that's just
Yeah,
my opinion.
it's hard to even start to talk about it because
It is.
there's so much information that we don't know. But I think the reason for the phases is supposedly they know it's all done for how many cases there were from the bottom to the top,
Mm-hmm.
from south to the north tip. And obviously we're up towards the north tip where I'm from, or where where I'm from. And then
Yeah.
that was obviously, the most populated gets hit the hardest, just like New York. The most populated, New York's, I guess, fucked. So
It's bad there.
it's because there's so many people in such a small area. But I do believe that down south there probably wasn't that many, so they're going to slowly open up first. But it's like it's weird how they have it like scheduled out. I mean, not to mention where I'm from, we obviously have the most corrupt governors there ever has been in the past 20,
Absolutely.
30 years. And Illinois is obviously like on the top 10 or top 5 of like the most taxed state. And even, not to get political on the show for the first time ever,
Yeah.
but even Trump made a funny tweet because he has his businesses in Chicago. He knows how corrupt the shit we are. He even called out our governor, like, what are you doing, idiot?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
sucks,
I
man.
know.
It
And
sucks. And like, that's from Chicago. It's like a lot of other states too, but Chicago's known for its workers, so to have
mhm.
these things shut down, it's really causing a controversy with more of the the economical talk about it. And there's a lot of people that, they're like, dude, just open back up. Like, we are a working fucking state and we can't work right now. And I feel that. I know it's a biased opinion
Yeah.
because I'm an
Exactly.
entrepreneur and I don't know things and I'm not on the front lines, but it stinks. I think, it stinks.
It does. And like you said, not to get like political, because I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not educated enough on
Right.
politics
Me
or
neither.
on infectious diseases to sit here and have a good
Right.
conversation. I'm just saying the way that I view how I feel about things. Like I understand why we've done this whole process of like locking down the country and stuff like that. And I think it's obviously great that we had no cases in the county that I'm from and that we've flattened the curve like we wanted to do. Yeah, but there comes a point where it's like we have to do something. Like it's going to be complete chaos within our country here. And,
Yeah. No, it will.
something's got to happen. Like, it just sucks. It sucks to see people not be able to work. It's sad.
Yeah, I just visited my favorite butcher down the street, and they've been open. I don't even know when they opened. I'm talking a very long time ago. It's still an old school butcher place.
Mhm.
It's very small. It has the best meat, the most expensive, and the best meat around. I mean, everything they have is amazing. It's like it started as like a small mom and pop store, and they actually had us waiting out in line outside. You have to have a mask on to enter. They're letting in 2 people at a time. So like the line out the door was literally around the block all day because it's just like it's really crazy. But as I got up to the front, they called from me back. They closed at 3:00. I was in line from like 2:15 to 3:30 just to get like a couple things, whatever was left in there. But I knew that one of the kids has been working there basically his whole life. His name was Kenny. And he was telling people like, that's it, we're closed, after him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, Kenny, what's up? It's Anthony. He's like, holy cow, dude, what's going on? Give a little fist bump. And I'm like, how's it been? And this is a thriving place that's been there. I want to say it's got to be around 50 years. It has to be. He said they're down 50% income. And that's like, whoa,
That's
like
insane.
that's a small mom and pop shop. And like, and then you walk up and you notice that they changed their hours. They're closed an entire extra day that they used to be during the week. So imagine that. And there was always like 10 people behind there cutting meat, bagging stuff. The women were there on the weekends, and it was like the women and the young men were there on the weekends, and like they were doing stuff. And now it's like, dude, 50%, you walk in there, they had like no meat left, which I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. And they had a very minimal amount of workers there. And it's like, dude, come on. Like that
Yeah.
place has been here for 50 years, like
Yep. That's what we're
that's
doing.
that's what scares me. That's what that hurts me the most, is to see places like that thrive on community, and the community is shut down because of
Yeah.
this.
And like they're shut down, and then other people are out of work, so other people don't have money to spend on stuff like that. Like obviously you need food, but like you said, it's expensive meat, and it's kind of like to go there would probably be kind of like a luxury, right? Like you're gonna go
Yes.
there, you're gonna get some good meat, like it's worth it. But so like people that are obviously short on money, they're probably gonna go to like Costco and buy meat. They're not gonna go to a mom and pop, which they should. You should go support those small businesses if you can.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel you on that. Well, with that being said, cheers. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate. Do you have anything special in the cup? This is
Uh,
just. I got some cold brew. What do you got?
it's just hot coffee. I put some protein powder in it because to get some extra protein. Like today, it's Sunday. I'll probably take a really relaxed day, so I know my protein might not be as high. I usually have like one less meal because I don't work out on Sundays.
Yeah, it's total chill day.
It's a chill day. It's gonna be very chill today too. I'm gonna relax.
Yeah, it's a little rainy by us. By the
Yeah.
time people that
Yeah.
this podcast airs, this is Mother's Day. So happy
Yeah.
Mother's Day to all.
Yes,
And
for sure.
little fun fact, community. Justin and I go way back. So this is going to be a total. This is like our monthly phone call checkup. But to go back a little bit, Justin was actually on my very first episode of my podcast. It was actually episode number 2. The first episode, if you want to count it, was my intro. So Justin was my very first guest. And he was also just on episode 24 also. That was crushing goals, setting routines, and beating COVID-19. And we're still talking about it to this day. And then he's on Coffee Talk episode 2. So welcome back for the third time, my guy.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. It's fun. It's always fun. It's like you said, it's just like our kind of just a hangout hour that we have. Chat about. This is kind of what we just talk about. Like if you were in my living room chilling with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty much what we talk about.
Yeah, I have a feeling like when next time I come visit, I'm just gonna just toss the recorder down just like all day, 24 hours,
Dude.
and just like cut up a bunch of different sections of podcasts.
Yeah, you should. You should. If Illinois doesn't open up soon, we'll be open up before you. Just come hang out and we can actually go eat in public somewhere.
Dude, for real. As soon as you tell me that restaurant and the pool's open, I'm coming. We're coming right away.
I'm hoping. Well, restaurants are supposed to open soon, and like they're actually opening outdoor restaurants before before eating, and we have that outdoor section, that restaurant by our place. And I'm wondering if the pool will count in that, because you could regulate the amount of people in that pool. Like you literally have to sign in with your key, your phone app. So,
right.
Man, I hope the pool. I mean, not that it's been warm enough to lay by the pool, but hopefully that opens soon.
I feel like you guys will have like a perfect transition. Like as soon as they open up everything, everyone's just going to be ready to go out to that pool, man. Because like when I came to visit, that was like the place to hang out on the weekend, man.
The hot spot.
The hot spot. I mean, there's people everywhere in that pool. It was awesome. So like where Justin lives at, he has like this communal restaurant and pool in the middle with there's a sand volleyball pit. There's a gym right there. So it's all like connected, and everyone kind of meets into this pool area, which I think is. It's amazing. I mean, you've gone out there like during the week when you were working. You're like, I'm gonna go work by the pool today. Like that's amazing. It's
awesome. Yeah, it's a good environment. And like they play, like what's cool, like during the day they play like more chilled music. Like maybe they'll play some like country music or some like acoustic stuff. But on the weekends, it's kind of like it feels like you're like at a resort for real. It's kind of like a party at that place. Like people playing volleyball. There's DJs. It's cool.
I think the one Saturday that we were there over the 4th of July weekend, I think it was Saturday, we chilled all day by the pool. I think maybe it was, or maybe it was the Sunday, whatever day it was on that weekend, it was a party. I mean, there was people everywhere and everyone was having a good time. Everyone had buckets of beer and everyone was getting drinks. And what's awesome is you can get food right there, So that's it's like a damn resort. We walked there from your place. We walked there.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely. I can't wait for that to be open. I'm coming as soon as that opens.
Sure
I'll be knocking on the door again. You'll be like, who's that? I'll be like, well, hey.
Don't even tell me or Shelby you're coming.
I'm not even going to call you guys at all. I'm going to come find your new place. So what the big thing is did you get any questions? We put up a question block community I put it on my Facebook, and I also put it on my Instagram. We got a couple questions from the community, and I want Justin's opinion on this. So I have one. Actually, I have some good questions for you, Justin. I want to get your well, before we do that, Justin, why don't you give a little intro or a little like repeat of who you are and what you do for your job?
Yeah. So I am a nutrition coach. So that's kind of how me and Anthony met, just randomly on Instagram. Through that, through that common connection there. I work for a company called The Method Now, which is I just deal one-on-one with clients. Most of my clients are CrossFitters, but I have clients from like all walks of life, people that do just regular like bodybuilding workouts to, just people that train like 2 or 3 days a week and just want to be healthy. So big variety of clients there. They're based in Adelaide, Australia. It's been a really good opportunity for me. I really enjoy that a lot. Before that, I just kind of coached on my own. I also coach at a CrossFit gym. So I'll coach some classes. There's some personal training sessions every once in a while that we have to do, which is basically like, if you're familiar with CrossFit, it's like an onboarding class, but we just have it now. We've switched over to where it's like personal training, which I feel like they get more out of it. And he kind of gives us, the coach, free range to walk people through whatever we feel like they need, because everybody comes in on different levels. Like, like somebody might not need that super fundamental
Right.
CrossFit basics class, like where they need to learn how to like just deadlift or strict press. And with the personal training thing, we can kind of take them through a little more. Like if we have somebody that's more advanced, like maybe it's somebody that's an advanced power lifter that comes in there, but they've never snatched or clean and jerk, we can walk them through a snatch, clean and jerk session, get them ready for CrossFit class and throw them in. So, that's pretty much what I do. Yeah, basically just a nutrition coach and trainer, same as Anthony here. Similar
Yeah.
background.
Yeah,
And you
man.
guys can hear my like whole stories. Like if you go back and listen to those other podcasts, like I go into pretty much into depth from what I do and
Yeah,
who I am.
definitely. You guys can definitely hear Justin. He's, like I said, he's been on episode 2 and 24. Episode 24 was great because we talked. It's nice to catch back up and actually like recap. That was just only on episode 24. So I think I'm on like 33 or 34 now. So yeah, and that was a great conversation too. But if you guys want to go back to hit up Justin on Instagram as well, and then also go back to that episode number 2 and actually get Justin's full story on everything, why he came into coaching. That's kind of like the introduction to my podcast, introduction to you two onto the podcast. You guys can go back to that. So I want to get right into the questions. We put up a question block on all of our Instagrams and Facebooks and stuff, and I actually got a couple of really good nutrition questions. And I'm going to dive right in, Jay. I'm going to give you the first one from my buddy Juan Pequeno, aka Johnny Smalls. Said the best alcoholic drink to drink, ? And low in calories, ? What do you got for a best alcoholic drink that could be low in calories?
Best alcoholic drink to be low on calories, usually like a more clear liquor I would go with. And then you can always mix it with like a soda water. I mean, I've even drink vodka water, add like a lemon or a lime. Tequila is okay to drink, especially if you have like gluten intolerance. Tequila is a good one because it's made,
right.
That's one that most people can tolerate pretty well. Everybody loves White Claws. Those are low calorie.
100 calories a can, man. That's not bad.
If you want my honest opinion when it comes to drinking, when I'm drinking, I don't even think about calories. I'm thinking about, because I don't drink that often. So that's my opinion for most people, even most clients that come to me, is I'm like, hey, we shouldn't be drinking all the time anyway. For optimal health and like performance and body composition, whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for it in nutrition, I'd be like, what's your best low calorie cookie or cake option? It's like, well, we probably shouldn't be drinking all day, every day anyway. But when you do, those are some of the beverages. Not even a big, I'm not a huge drinker, but like when you came, like when I have friends visiting, I will drink. We didn't really care what we were drinking. We would have like, we want a mojito, we'd have a mojito. We want an old fashioned, we'd go get an old fashioned. I want a, IPA, like one of the highest calorie beers you can get. I'd have an IPA. That's how I approach it, because the other 80-90% of my life is so put together with my nutrition. But I do, if I'm going to have several drinks, if I'm going to go out and I know I'm going to probably get like drunk, I think mixing like clear liquors for me are usually lower in calories, and mixing them with like soda water or water, adding a lime or a lemon or something like that to it usually flavors it and tastes pretty good. You can do diet sodas too. I mean,
right.
That always works.
Yeah, I think if we're trying to count, I'm going to play devil's advocate on the other side of it. I think if we're going to try to count calories, you shouldn't be looking at your alcohol to count calories. I believe you could have what you want to drink and kind of count your calories throughout the week. If it comes down to, I have to watch what I drink, and you drink a lot, it's one of those things like, there's probably other holes in your nutrition or fitness game that we need to plug up first. But if I had to say a specific drink, I think like vodka and soda, that's the lowest of the low you can possibly get. You just have, I think there's like zero, almost, obviously nothing's ever truly 0 calories, but I think soda is basically, there's nothing in it. There's no carbs, there's no fat. Yeah. So it's just water. Just be careful, because it's vodka and water. It will catch you and bite you in the ass very quick.
And like with alcohol, like it's everybody likes to just think that we can honestly just track it as like carbs and protein. I think we look at a drink and it says it has 4 grams of carbs, like a White Claw or something. They don't count the alcohol calories in there, because alcohol is basically, it's the hidden macro of 7 calories, right? So that's not even in the drink. Like you have to like kind of figure that in too. But it's really hard to do. It's complicated. A lot of people, I'm like, I don't even want to go there with you. Like, it's going to overcomplicate things. Like, drink in moderation, you're going to be okay.
100%.
You
Yeah.
know?
Awesome, man. Question number 2. Let's go with, this is a very broad question. I believe she meant it to be very broad, and all she put was lunch suggestions for work. And I do believe that's it. Just lunch suggestions for work. I don't have any context of it, but I'm thinking what's good to eat at lunch or for work. And we could probably break this down to a macro or, quote unquote calorie. And I believe you could eat whatever the hell you want for work.
Yeah.
But if you wanted something very, I'm going to go the easy route, Jay, and then you can think about the other side of the coin. I'm going to go the easy route and say, just get a good lunch meat. Boar's head's very good. Try to get the cleanest one without, there's a lot of zero nitrate stuff out there. If you really do care about anything like that, a really low carb tortilla wrap, and go ahead and have some, veggies or fruit on the side, I think is a very good protein, low carb, good, very good protein. Then you get some very good micronutrients in there as well with like a spinach salad or any type of fruit cup or something like that. That's very easy. And you can roll it up and just like shove that in a bag. You don't have to have any, shove that into a refrigerator also when you get to work. Very easy to do. I think a tortilla wrap with some fruit would be a really good choice for lunch.
That shows how easy it is. Like, you just literally broke it down. Like, how easy did you think that up, and how much time would that take for you to put it together? And even to go even easier, you guys could put that in a lunchbox and not even have it put together before. You could put it together on your lunch hour, wrap out, throw the meat on there, roll it up, eat it. So now, like you said, you want me to take the other route. If you wanted to maybe make it a little more complicated, maybe get a little more nutrient dense, have a little more whole foods in it. If you like took time to actually meal prep for the week, and you could have something packed up in Tupperware, maybe in your fridge you have some lean beef or some chicken or ground turkey or something. Maybe you have some sweet potatoes or some rice, throw that in a Tupperware container, have some broccoli, some type of vegetable or something like that, maybe an apple, pack it up, take it with you. It's going to take some time to meal prep earlier in the week, but you put that in a Tupperware container, put it in a lunchbox, in a cooler, keep it cold, throw it in a microwave at work. Boom. You have a meal. That's pretty freaking simple too, if you really want to think about it, but it does require cooking.
Yeah, I think we could definitely look at that if there's a little bit of context behind that question.
For sure.
But I definitely do think that it's probably like a lot of people look at like lunches like, well, I just, pack a bunch of shitty stuff in my lunchbox, like whatever that may be. And I do think a lot of people kind of, freak out a little bit. I'm like, what should I bring? What should I have for lunch? Or if I'm going out for lunch, what should I have? It's like, just stick to the basics. And if you're actually following calories, then you could kind of eat whatever you would like. It's whatever fits in your calories would be fine. If you want to get away from, AKA crappy foods, like you just said, those are 2 wonderful options to do. And like you said, you can even just toss like the whole, half pound, 2 pound thing of, lunch meat in the container with a tortilla. Just bring that with you and just make it at lunch. The easier, the better. I think when we try to overcomplicate things on like, oh, it has to have 25 protein and 35, like, eat your lunch, man. It's probably lunch, at work. If you're eating lunch, most of the time for most people, 90% of people are eating lunch at work. It's a very important meal to actually have. So make it fun, make it exciting for yourself. That actually gives you a little bit of comfort throughout the rest of your day.
Exactly. What's the easiest? What kind of time do you have? Like you said, we need context. Like, how much time do you have? Do you not have time to do what Anthony said? Do you have more time? Maybe you can go home and prepare your lunch. You know what I mean? It's big. It depends right there.
Right. I have another question that actually leads right into this pretty perfectly. This is from Kinetic Strength and Conditioning. It's a brand new, I looked it up. It's a brand new Instagram page. I do believe this guy goes to my gym. You guys go give him a follow, Kinetic Strength and Conditioning. He actually has, break this down a little bit because there's only so much room in that question box. When counting macros, is it more important to reach your end day goal or individual meal goals? You kind of get that? It's kind of almost the same question in 2.
Yeah.
Is it more important to reach your end day goal or individual goals when we count macros?
I would say end of your day goal, because like meal timing doesn't really, if I'm reading that, if I'm getting that right, like he's like individual meals. So like, I don't ever give somebody individual meal macros. It's not like, it's like you realized me, like, what do I want to eat for lunch? We went back to that last question. I wouldn't be like, I want you to eat 25 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat. I would tell you, I want your macros to be this by the end of the day. So I think that's, end of the day is more important. With that, I would suggest having protein at every meal. And that depends on the person, obviously. But if he's a male, probably at least 25 grams each meal. I would maybe even at least 30. But we're getting on the, we're cutting a fine line there. But that's the answer. I would say end of the day, absolutely is more important.
I'll definitely agree with that. I think if we're looking at it like, let's just say it's 8 o'clock at night and you're looking back at your calories, you're like, holy shit, like I got some food to eat, and like just hit your protein if you can, or just hit your calories at the end of the day. I think it's more important at the end of the day to be consistently consistent on your calories. Don't think, and plus it takes out the added stress, right, Jay? I'm talking like, since we're talking about easy things for lunch, easy things for your, dietary needs, just hit your protein and let your calories fall with your fats and carbs.
A lot
I
of
think
people are fine with
when,
that.
dude, you know what I'm saying? And like just the goals alone that you can hit just with that, and it takes the guesswork out of it. If you're 200-pound male or 130-pound female, hit your 130, 140 grams of protein, hit your 200 or 210 grams of protein, let your other calories fall. Just make sure, you're still lifting heavy, you're still working out right, but hit your calories at the end of the day. That's where you're going to see the most success, as opposed to like it being 9 o'clock at night and you're trying to measure out a half a scoop of peanut butter to hit like 6 more grams of fat.
Seriously, like a lot of times the added stress that people put on that
Right.
is going to be more detrimental to the, like people really stress that stuff out. How many times I've done this before, like say I'm making a bowl of oatmeal and I need 80 grams of oats, to get 50 grams worth of carbs. And it's like 78 grams. And I'm like, I'm just a little more to get to 80. It's like, dude, it's probably okay that it's 78 grams and not 80, or
Right.
even like if it says 85 and not 80, like we don't have to like stress it that much. Just chill out and eat the food. It's okay.
I think that's a huge problem I see with a lot of people as well. They think that that's how you have to be. And it's like, listen, if you're not walking across a stage in your underwear, damn near half naked, you do not need to be that specific.
Yeah.
You don't, because that, like you just said, that added stress is going to be so much more detrimental to your everyday existence in your journey. Like that we're trying to get away from that added stress. Like Jay, you and I talk about this all the time. The only way this thing works is consistency. And the only way consistency works is if you completely make this thing easy. And that's why you and I have always, the way that we teach all of our clients and how we always even talk to one another all the time. It's like, hey man, simplify that shit. What's hard about it? Well, this XYZ is hard about it. Well, how do you make that easy? Do this, then do that. It's one of those things like the light bulb goes off all the time. It's like, simplify this stuff and it will be easy for you. We only make that complicated. We as humans love to make that shit complicated.
Yeah. I always tell people, don't force your lifestyle to fit your diet, or don't force, all right, I'm losing my words here. Don't force your diet don't force your lifestyle to fit your diet. Make your diet fit your lifestyle.
100%.
That was a lot easier when I type it out to clients than it was when I had to say that out loud. But yeah, like don't like make that stuff simple, man. It's not, because at the end of the day, no matter what, if it's so hard for you to hit your macros and you're doing that and it stresses you out 3 days in, you're going to stop doing it. Like
Yeah.
when we give macro prescriptions, we don't tell you if I set your protein at 180, I want it to be from 170 to 190. I think is pretty freaking good if you're like that most of the time. And I'd almost rather see that little variance there, because I know you're probably eating different foods. You're probably having some fun with your food. You're mixing your meals up, than I would seeing it spot on every single day.
Right. I would almost question it if it was
Seriously, I do.
spot on. I'd be like, you've been spot on for 6 days straight. How the hell? No one's that perfect. I haven't seen someone. I question it a lot.
And I usually ask people. I do the same whenever I see somebody, I have a grown man and they're telling me they're only eating 1,400 calories. I'm like, are you tracking everything? Like, and if you are, then you need to eat more. But like, usually I'm not. I'm like, I don't think that they're only eating 1,400 calories. Usually I assume that there's some error in their logging system or tracking.
Right.
Which is another big part.
Yeah. And to like kind of piggyback on that question as well, like to understand exactly what we're talking about, to wrap that entire question up, like, and that you can break that down to meals too, right? Like when we say calories at the end of the day are more important, like it doesn't matter if you eat twice a day. It doesn't matter if you eat 6 times a day, whatever they've done. This has been debunked many of times. Will it suck to eat once a day? Yes, it will suck. You're probably going to be hungry. You're going to be moody. It's going to mess with you. With all that stuff aside, if you want to eat once, you can. If you want to eat 6 times, 7 times, you can. If you want to eat 3 times and have a bunch of snacks in the middle, it doesn't matter as long as you hit your calories at the end of the day. And that goes for fat loss as well. Like whatever you want to do to gain, to go to that deficit, you know, that's how success is going to happen.
Yeah, that question gets asked a lot.
Yeah, right. Because people, I think it's like, it's weird how that happens. Like, well, I heard you have to eat every couple of hours or to kickstart your, how many times do you hear that?
Oh,
I have to kickstart my metabolism.
I used to believe it.
Me too.
I used to eat every 2 hours, like almost on the hour, dude. Like whenever I first started this, and I'll tell you, it was when I first started lifting weights, dude. I got pretty I gained a lot of muscle, but it was just because I was eating more calories. It wasn't because I was eating every 2 hours. I'm like, this shit works, dude. I'm like, it's like, no, I was lifting a lot, and I was young, and I was eating a lot of calories and a lot of protein.
Yeah, right. And you're eating a lot. You're forcing yourself to actually put food in your mouth, you know.
I thought I was magic, dude, and then it's like, oh man.
That's awesome, man. Did you get any questions from your people?
Yeah, dude, actually, I have some good ones. I have some. I'll start with the ones that are more nutrition training related, and then we'll go to. I had a couple people ask some fun questions. So
good.
So the first one, I'll put the two kind of together. They're two separate questions, but it's from a client of mine, Sybil. She lives over in Luxembourg.
What's up?
But she has a Whoop strap. And so a lot of people that don't have Whoops will kind of change this question a little bit to fit you guys too. But a Whoop strap basically tracks your heart rate, tracks your recovery and sleep and all that stuff. She said, I'll read both questions. How can we stay more in the green on the Whoop, which is in the green is like where you're fully recovered and you're like ready to go hard, saying that you're feeling good. And then on the other side of that, what does recovery primarily have to do with if sleep performance is 100%? So to give more context on that, sleep performance, it'll say like you need, like last night mine said I needed like 8 hours and 10 minutes worth of sleep to get 100% sleep performance. And I got 100% sleep performance, but my recovery was not in the green. So a lot of people I think if people are thinking that only sleep goes into that, you know, like just recovery, that's not the case. So how I'm going to spin this question is how can we recover better? And how can we stay more like optimized to train? So do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Yeah, 100%. I'll jump right into a couple things that I think. Number one, is sleep close to number one? 100%. 100%. We know. I mean, you can track that back. I mean, that's why it's so important to track our sleep, right? Like that's why there's so many of these new widgets out there in the world that can track our sleep. Because yes, it is super, super important. But guess what? Just getting 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a night, that's not going to recover if you're an asshole during the day. And when I say that, it's because we need everything in the bucket of recovery to make the recovery work. You can't just, okay, so if you're working your ass off at work, hypothetically, you're working 40 hours a week, 45 hours a week, plus commuting, trying to get your calories in, the stressors of everyday life, and you're staying up till 2:00 in the morning every night, binging Netflix because you say you don't have enough time to watch your shows and you can't sleep at night. And then you say you get 8 hours of sleep. That doesn't erase that, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't erase the just shitty day that you had before just because you're getting 8 hours of sleep. Everything that we do throughout the day to lower our cortisol, which is that fight or flight response in our body, that's everything from your daily walking, your daily meditation, your journaling. That all gets put in the bucket of recovery. And sleep is on the top of it. But the reason why we say sleep is on the top of it is because of the fact that if all those other things are helping you out to get better sleep, you're going to get better sleep and your recovery is going to be better. So it's one of those things like it all has to be in the bucket. I know it's a long-winded answer and piggyback on that any way you want, but I know you and I both agree that sleep is, it's huge. It's huge.
Always number one for me. It's almost one of the first things I talk about with people. Right. Like, they'll be signing up for a nutrition coach thinking we're going to get nutrition. I find out you slept 5 hours. We're going to talk about sleep first. We are.
Got a little frozen here. Guys, if anyone's listening, you can still hear me. Justin kind of ticked out a little bit. So that last question was talking about recovery. Gotcha. Are you back?
I'm back. Yeah.
All right. Go back over. I was just kind of talking to the community. You spaced out a little bit. So I was just talking to the community, but go ahead and read that question again.
You kept it going. Yeah. So we were talking about recovery. So like some other factors besides like sleep and stress. Stress is a huge one. But some things that kind of play into that we could also talk about. Like and that go into your actual recovery.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't think about like, where's your fitness level at? Like my fitness level might be higher than someone else's, vice versa. Theirs might be higher than mine. So their
Right.
recovery, they're going to be able to recover from more volume easier than I could. So that's going to play a role. Health plays a role into your recovery, especially on the whoop strap, especially if you're sick, you're not going to be recovering as well. Even if you have like a little cold or maybe you have an injury. That's something I've noticed from tracking. Like I have a group in my whoop strap of people that are my clients. And I have a client right now that's injured. She broke a bone in her foot or something. And her recovery has been way down. Well, her body's fighting to get better. So that's one thing.
Right.
And then stress, like you said, diet, how much food we eat, obviously plays a role in our recovery. That's why we always talk about you need to eat more food, most likely if you're an active individual. Hydration, we could go into that. And then also like, just because you sleep one night, one full evening, what if you had a really bad sleep the night before and you trained really, really hard that day before, and then you trained really hard the day before that, and you just had a tough week of training,
Right.
and maybe you slept bad a couple nights. Well, that's it. All kind of just combined. So yeah, we could sleep really well all night and never recover that well if we aren't doing the other things that happen. It's just like we say there's only 1 hour a day that we spend in the gym, and there's 23 other hours to mess stuff up. Well, if you sleep 8 hours, you still got a lot of the other part of your day where you can mess some things up to hurt that recovery.
Yeah, 100%. And it also goes back to, you could take that any single direction we want to take that too. Like even with your workouts, like you go in and like, if you should be talking to your coach, number one, if you don't have one, get one, because it really helps you out in your fitness and nutrition as well. If you go in, Jay, and you go ahead and do Fran, which is a workout for CrossFit, if anyone doesn't know what that is, 2159, pull-ups and thrusters, you go in and do Fran, and I go in and do Murph, which is one of the hardest workouts there is. Like we have to play that day differently. Like you and I aren't both going to eat the same thing afterwards. We're not both going to sleep the same amount of hours afterwards. Like those are completely two different workouts. So I think you need to get your head wrapped around how you're training throughout the day also compiles onto your recovery as well. There's different things you need to do to recover from your daily stressors. And like you said, that goes back to exactly what you said. Hardcore workout after workout after workout, you need to recover differently. You can't just keep burning the candle at both ends and sleep for the same 7 hours a night. That's not going to offset it. And I think that's the great thing. Like I don't have a Whoop. I have a Fitbit, but I think that's one of the greatest things that the Whoop does is actually you can see how much you pour out of one cup and the other cup. And you can see, okay, if I'm recovering in this zone and this zone's bad still, you have to adjust for that. Like you need to figure out why you can't get your zones more together or more in the good area, like the green area, you know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing. You get to see how much you pour out of each cup. And I think we take that for granted. If you don't track anything, you take that for granted. So if we're just tracking one thing and that's sleep, you're missing out on a whole other spectrum of things you need to be recovering from and using for your recovery.
That's a really good answer there. So I have a few more. One person, Damon, I'm not sure who. So I don't know if you have the same problem with putting question boxes up. And if you're listening to this and you're a spammer on question boxes, I don't like you. And why do people do that, dude? I literally probably had 20 replies and only 5 legit questions, and it's all this spam. Like, come on, guys, chill out on that. No one's responding to you.
Yeah, no one.
Someone asked, "How are your workouts going?" Which is just a really relaxed question. So, especially this time of the year. So, how are your workouts going?
Horrible. Because of quarantine time, I have literally been pulling my hair out the last couple of weeks, and I'm ready to go back to the gym. And there's only so many TRX workouts and walks and push-ups I can do a day before I'm just ready to lift again. I want to bench press. I want to touch a barbell. I want to touch some dumbbells. So with that being said, though, what I can say is there's been a couple more cheat meals and a couple more drinks during this quarantine time, but I am eating regular food. Okay. So that's the most important thing I can control is that. As far as walking, I've been walking 10,000+ steps a day easily. I think I had almost 20 the other day. I walked for hours just because I had the time. Workouts are going okay. I'm just more in the zone of getting my sleep. I can definitely tell you I'm sleeping 8 to 10 hours, number one. And I'm tracking my calories as best as I can to be around my maintenance level right now. As much as I want to lose weight, I think the stressors of this time have gotten to me now towards the end of quarantine. I know in the very beginning of this, you and I talked about like, chill out, have some food, maintenance calories will be going good, and you shouldn't be in a deficit. We talked about that. I, on the other hand, am stubborn and I wanted to lose weight. And now it's kind of coming to that time where I'm kind of done being in a deficit. I'm very moody, and it's just really not the time. I'd rather have pizza right now. Like I'm going to go meet up with my family for Mother's Day. Right after this, I'm hopping in the shower and we're doing brunch, which means awesome mimosas, some drinks after, and we have nothing but hors d'oeuvres and pick on stuff. There's no meal. So I don't care. It's going to be tons of cheese and crackers, tons of fats, and some champagne this morning. And you know what? That's going to do me better than trying to count, 300-400 calories less a day and to have to try to track that fat loss. So long-winded answer again, guys. Workouts are going okay. I can't wait for gyms to open. And I know Justin has a way better time with workouts right now, you prick, because now you have a gym.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. But like your answer is super honest and probably how most people's answer is going to look right now. And that's okay. Like a lot of people you're stressing out that your workouts aren't going well. Like you got to just chill out. You can't do anything about it. Like
Right.
You got to make the most out of what you can with what you have. And like you said, it's okay. If you gain a few pounds during quarantine right now, it's okay. Like
It's nothing.
it's fine. It's not a big deal. We can easily get right back on track once the gyms start open, which is going to be soon for pretty much everywhere.
Right.
My workouts, man, I have a garage gym. And I'm really lucky. Like I'm super blessed. My workouts haven't really changed that much. If I'm being honest, I can still do pretty much everything. And I won't rub it in anybody's faces by getting any deeper in the conversation with that. But yeah.
Well, you invested some money, man. So it is what it is.
I paid for it. Yeah, definitely paid for it. And Shelby doesn't know. She can hear me. She's upstairs. But I just bought a bench too. She's been talking about wanting a bench.
Nice.
We don't have a bench, but I've just been doing like floor presses and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really care. She's been benching on the box that I made, which I know hurts her back.
Yeah.
Right? So she's been like benching on that, but I ordered one from Amazon. I ordered a bench. Hopefully
Nice.
it's here like this week. So that'll be good. But I have two more questions. The next one is, what is your favorite book to read? That was by, I don't know who this is, Marianne Welter, but your favorite book to read. So I guess instead of your favorite one book, you could list a couple books or favorite all-time book or something.
Yeah. So something that helped me a lot, and it comes in a pack of books, actually. Craig Ballantyne is a entrepreneur. You guys look him up. He does so much for his expertise. He's had businesses. His expertise are with higher end clients, but his books that he wrote, the Perfect Day Formula and the 7-Week Formula, Craig Ballantyne's books, not just because if you're an entrepreneur or not, it helps you set your days up and your morning routines, your nighttime routines. He's a big routine guy. That book, those 3 books to me, those series of books really kind of opened my eyes to daily planning, weekly planning, and what journaling should actually be about. That to me, planning is everything. Without planning, I don't think we can even do anything. You know what I'm saying? That's like waking up in the morning without a plan. You're just lost. I mean, you're setting yourself up to not to have any success at all. If you just wake up, I'm going to write down today what I need to do. There's no way that's going to work. So there's routines to be put into place. So Craig Ballantyne's books are really great. And actually, he runs so many specials on his books. If you just go to his email club, you can probably get them for free. Literally. So check him out.
I mean, we talk about morning routines with people a lot, or even journaling with people, and a lot of times they just don't understand how to do it. Like they just kind of get lost in it. So that's a really good recommendation. I know you like those books a lot. I had a feeling you might say that. That's your favorite. Like that's just you recommend it to clients too. I know I recommend a lot of books to clients
all the time.
My favorite. So I'm gonna list a couple. I've read more books this year than I have in the last several years. So I've been reading a lot lately. I really, really enjoy it. One that I recommend to clients. I don't know if you're putting this on YouTube, but I'll show it for the people.
I am.
Atomic Habits by James Clear. Great book. Recommend this to a lot of clients. I actually use a lot of his strategies in here in my coaching, just because it's so life-changing stuff in there. Great book though. It's just basically about how to build good habits and break bad ones. It gives you different strategies to go about that. You can apply it to literally anything in your life. And people listen to this podcast like to train and like to eat better. A lot of really good tips. But it goes for even more than that. You can apply it to business, to your job, to your relationships, anything.
I'm actually listening to that right now on Audible
It's great, isn't it?
because Chase Chuney and I had on my podcast as well. He recommended that as well. He goes, "This is the book," and I'm like, I thought I read that, and I got off, and I was talking to my girlfriend Carrie Ann, and she was like, "You haven't read that yet, dude?" I'm like, "Really?" So I put it on Audible, and I'm like, "I haven't listened to this," and it's only a 5-hour Audible, so I'm talking fast. But yeah, for right now, it's all about kicking that shit out of your head that you don't need, and like setting yourself up.
Fantastic, man. I really wish I would have read it sooner, but I mean, it's helped my coaching too. And then this book is called The Go-Giver. It's about this guy that works in a business basically, but he has this business idea, and I'm not gonna say he's a selfish guy. He's a good guy, but he goes and he talks to this like business mogul that kind of mentors him through this stuff, and it's what he's expecting isn't what he gets, but this guy is all about giving. And I think as us as coaches, that's a huge part of what we do is we have to give value and just give value and give value. And that's what you're all about. I know, but it's a really good story. It's a super easy read. Really recommend it. It's not based on a true story or anything like that, but it was really powerful. It was really hard to put the book down. I read it in a couple of days, but another really good book. And then lately I've been hooked on Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I started reading that last year and I didn't finish it. I think you read it.
I listened to it on Audible. Yeah. You got to listen to it on Audible because it's like a podcast as well. So
I bet, and you hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, if you guys haven't looked into that, man, you guys need to look him up. But that is a really, really good book. It made me feel, I like to think that I'm pretty mentally tough. I push through a lot of things and I'm pretty disciplined. It made me feel like I had so much room for improvement. Like listening to him talk and his story. And then I just read Living with a Seal too, which is, you should check it out. Really easy read. It's really funny. Jesse Isler, who's this entrepreneur, hires David Goggins to come live with him for 30 days. And he said that he'll do anything he says. And he does do anything he says. But some of the things they do is insane.
Oh, no.
Hilarious. Like some of the things that because David's straight faced the whole time, just down to business. And Jesse's kind of a funny dude. But just the way David talks to him and makes him do stuff, it's funny. So anybody wants that's an easy read too. Check that out. Really, really good one. And
that's awesome.
The Harry Potters behind you. I started reading those. Obviously, I was young when they came out. I think the first one came out when I was like maybe in 5th grade or something. But that's a great book series. I can see it on your shelf right now.
Yeah, that's all Carrie Ann right there. I guarantee she's read through those books. I can't even tell you how many times, but that's all her favorite jam. So.
All right, last question. It's a pretty good one. It's fun. Nothing to do with fitness.
Good.
If you were a superhero, what powers would you have?
I love this. Yeah, every time I'm asked this question, I'm totally torn because the kid in me, I would love to be Superman because I would love to have those powers, even though he has a weakness. Like I think I know what you're going to say too, but I'm not going to say it. I would love Superman. Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, Anthony loves superhero movies, superhero stuff like that. You do though. You love it. So yeah. This question's probably really fun for him. I knew he would enjoy it.
This is a great question. Thank you so much, whoever asked this. Like, thank you so much. Superman would be my kid in me question. Like, kid in me answer. I apologize. I love everything about Superman. I mean, he's the strongest. Whatever. Can leap tall buildings in a single bound. All that shit. Fly around, save people. His powers to me would be awesome. But only my close knit group of people know this about me. The real person the superhero that I would want to be, to have the exact same powers and go through his same journey, because his journey, I think, it's so awesome, the adversity he's had to done, and I like his fucking attitude too, is Logan. I would love to have Wolverine powers from the X-Men. Dude, that's my fucking jam right there.
That's awesome.
Everything he is about, all those movies. I had all his figures growing up. Like, he was my undercover brother for sure as Wolverine. So that's a really good question. Thank you. I love that. I feel so good talking about that right now.
Yeah, that's crazy you said that. So this question is really hard. I thought about it a lot. I had time to think about it, but it's so hard because I want to be every superhero. But
I know
Superman is like almost the obvious answer. We all like want to be Superman. Like, he can pretty much do everything, and there's no kryptonite on this earth. So
yeah, right.
We'd be good to go. I don't know if you've told me Wolverine before. I feel like you have. But I was actually, it's really, really weird. I was going to say that too. That was going to be mine. And like, and I know it's not the common answer, right, but because like you said, he did go through a lot of adversity. He has some great powers too, but like his recovery, he can recover. And I was like trying to think realistically for me. Like if I had to have superpowers, what would I want?
Right.
And like I work out really hard, I would want to be, and he's super strong, he's fast. I'd want to be able to recover. I know it's crazy, but like that's the answer that I was going to give to. And I remember I got asked that for a job interview when I was like 19, and I was really
Really?
into running and stuff, and I chose the Flash, because he was super fast. But I don't like that answer anymore.
He has healing powers too, though.
He does, yeah. But I remember choosing that answer as a kid. I mean, they're all cool. Like,
I know. I mean, I think the question should be, who don't you want to be? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to be, if you want to talk who you don't want to be, I don't want to be like a night crawler, you know, like I don't want to have my body, or like Beast. I don't want my body to be changed because of my power. I want to be a normal person that has power, you know. I don't want to look like an animal.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun question though. So thanks for that question.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love it. You
That's
guys, community, thank you so much for all these questions. This is exactly what Coffee Talk should always be about, man. But Jay, we're coming up to the top of the hour, dude. Like I do in my podcast, I kind of want to throw this at you just because I appreciate not just all your time and energy, but I do appreciate you always teaching me something. And I want you to teach something to the community right now. What is, I know we've talked about so many great points right now. What is something that people, give me like one great actionable item, if you could say to people what they should be doing throughout their week coming up to tomorrow will be Monday. What's something that people can do as soon as they turn off this podcast and get going on that actionable item? What's probably one of the top couple of things that you would like people to do throughout the week?
So during this time, this answer could change depending on what's going on, I think. But right now, that I've been like focusing on, I'll just start taking cold showers and stuff like that, and like working on my breathing work. I'm gonna say kind of like just chilling out and unplugging, and just like, I know that we're not working out, like a lot of people aren't working out like they want to, but like there's still a lot of stress going on. So just work on like taking some downtime away from like any stressor that you have, and that means like even away from like the TV, and like I know that's relaxing and sitting down and watching Netflix, but just chill out and like be with yourself and like breathe and work on that. That's what I'm gonna have you like. That's what I want people to focus on this week. Like
that's awesome.
Like maybe not even meditation, but basically is meditation, you know. But like breath work and unplugging.
I think coming back to oneself is a big thing that we don't do enough of. And you can do that in any way, shape, or form you want, even on like a walk without your phone, or just like when we say by yourself, like do it by yourself. Like come back to center, you know, like come back to center a couple times throughout the week. I think we definitely need to do more of that. I think that without doing that, we become more stressed in our life. And that's exactly what we're trying to avoid.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stress going on right now. So, I mean, I'm not, as I say that, it's what I need to work on as well, you know?
Yo, dude, every day we have to do it every day. And I think that's the whole point, right? Justin, where can everybody find you at on Instagram? And if anybody wants any of coaching to check you out at the Method, where can they find you at, bro?
So yeah, my Instagram is Justin_Larrance. The Method is themethodnow.com.au. You guys can sign up through there and just request me as a coach. And if you really want, you can hit me up on Instagram to ask about that as well. It's the best place to find me though.
Awesome, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on Coffee Talk. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for all your time and energy. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, man. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there.
That's right, moms. You're awesome. Later, bro.
See you, man.